Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, this week attained an absolute majority of members in the House of Representatives, just a few months after the same scenario played out in the Senate. Observers of the political space are saying that this development has done little to assuage the fears of those who believe that Nigeria is headed in the direction of a one-party state and every known and unknown baggage that it brings. In the meantime, the major opposition parties in the land, who are expected to deploy their constitutionally endowed capacity to put the ruling party under check at every point, appear to be caught in an endless web of intra-party bickerings that could prove a fatal flaw, especially in the build-up to the 2027 general election. Joining us now to have a conversation is Chukwuma Okenwa, who's the Executive Director of Lead Network Africa. Good morning, Chukwuma. Yeah, good to have you join us in the studio today.
Thank you so much.
All right. I mean, you know what the concerns are, and of course what has been happening, not just having governors defect to the ruling party. Now there's an absolute control in both chambers of the House, the Senate and the House of Representatives. What does this say? Is it about the fact that we now have a behemoth for the ruling party, or does this say something more about those who do not seem to have direction, and therefore at every given point in time, they just want to be where things are better, where the ruling party is? What does this say to our democracy at this point in time?
I think the latter position of that further suggests a lack of ideology, and in terms of rules of engagement and political sustainability. Like the beauty of democracy is having an opposition that should be able to engage the ruling party. But with the ease with which people cross-carpet from one party to another is rather becoming worrisome. And why in our own case is going to be very different from like some conventional one-party system is that even with like recent developments, there seems not to be like any structure that may even like ensure that even within the APC, if APC becomes the de facto one-party system, maybe it's going to like operate like a communist party where there's still like a fair sharing formula, throwing out the very best. So it becomes a case of the winner takes it all. And you cited instance of, taking over the majority now both at the Senate and the House of Rep. And if by extension also we have to look at the states in Nigeria as maybe a Congress with 24 states for APC and the rest grappling with 1/3 of the other, we can also say that APC holds sway of the majority of states by 2/3, right? And that's like a worrisome development. And another thing again that now calls for concern.
Why is it worrisome?
Yeah, why is worrisome?
Why I'm asking, just very quickly to clarify, let's use the US as an example. The last election, as of today, and then coming today, the Republicans control the White House, control the Senate and the House, both chambers of the House. But then we see that the shutdown of government, in spite of the fact that Trump and his party controls everything, the opposition has been able to basically shut down government, and that's where Republicans are in the majority. Why can't we have a situation like that in Nigeria, where you say yes, APC controls everything, but then it shouldn't be everything that goes to the to the National Assembly that becomes a walkover?
It's really cause for concern because in our systems, failure to have individuals who watch their assault has led to weak institutions. Because I believe that there are those that are like vanguards of democracies. And it has to do with functional individuals who understand that, first and foremost, if you're elected on the party platform, then you should first of all defend the party's manifesto. So if your party assures Nigeria that we are going to do this, we are going to do that, you're going to stand first on the manifesto and the mandate of your party, not on the mandate of Tinubu, right? On your mandate, which shall stand like it's very common within Nigerian instance where powerful men could hold sway the entire structure leadership structure, political structure, put them all in the pocket, and that is why the reason why we find ourselves currently where we are as a nation. When it has to do with politicking, because the word ideology is actually a very strong word. It answers the word, who is this political party meant for? Just like, in the United States, when you talk about Democrats, the first thing that comes to mind is liberals. Yeah. And then when you talk about Republicans, that's conservatives. Imagine how easy it is for a Muslim to cross carpet to Christianity and vice versa. That is the ideological issues. But the very fact that it's very easy, for someone to just move the next moment, find like a new home in the next party, maybe like the next time like you're criticizing holders of broom, that umbrella is better. And then the next time now, you're moving about with the broom. I'm saying, you know what? The broom has been the best, umbrella I never noticed. So it's really cause for worry.
Let's hone in on this, because I think it's very important. You're separating parties as ideological based versus what we have in Nigeria, which it just seems like vehicles to get politicians to their destination, which is whatever office that they're vying for. But if we're speaking now specifically about the National Assembly, we've heard on your mandate we shall stand there, on the floors of the Green Chamber to the president. Some people thought that was abhorrent, that's a hallowed chamber that we should only be having our national anthem, whether that's the old or new one being sung. But there's only one national anthem. But let's hone in on this. When we started the 10th Assembly, at least in the House of Reps, there was 175 members of the APC there. They were less than opposition, who had 183. Now we have 243 APC. Opposition has dropped. I think PDP now has about 74 reps, and the Labour Party has lost 40% of their members. They have 21 reps left. It's not changing anytime soon. I've gotten word now that on Tuesday we're expecting more defections to the APC. What does this mean when we lead up to 2027 come primary season? Is this a case that there are too many elephants on one ship? Because how are the primaries going to function? We've heard that they're going to have primaries. The APC has said they're going to have primaries. So how are they going to do, and everyone has packed themselves into the same vehicle?
Well, I think exactly like these defections actually address the challenge because, for instance, there have been done concern that, so the fight is not going to be like very much internal. But those that currently hold sway, who are also coming into APC to make it stronger. If you won before under PDP, now you are going to bring the victory for APC. I mean, there is not the likelihood of maybe allowing a new person to come contend with you in that same position may not be in line with like the compromise. It may not be compensating enough, considering that you left PDP and now coming into APC, you want to make APC stronger. So coming into APC now, for whatever reason, and the fears, palpable fears leading people from leaving maybe PDP to APC, whatever might then be their fear, would now be like to secure your first and foremost, your political survivor. So to me, it's all about political survivor, not necessarily aligning with the center, because this alliance is becoming way too heavy and leading to a one-party state, which are currently, based on all of the laxities we see in our systems, systems without consequences, everything. Like when you look at communist nation like China, I mean, if you engage in acts of corruption, you go down for it. But here, once you join APC, your sins are forgiven. You become a saint. So it's more or less like there is that negligence on actually holding public officials accountable, provided you align with the mandate of the leader.
Which will be President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
That's
now,
right.
I'd like to touch on what you said about negligence. Do you think that's really what this is about? In the sense that the people that are now moving or jumping ship are going to APC primarily because they're trying to avoid some level of accountability on their part being in PDP. Perhaps there's some hammer of God that's about to hit the PDP that they're seemingly running away from. And then that being said, come 2027, as we look at the primaries, of course, we're going to see that basket shake where we start to see through who is going to come out to represent each and every state. Do you think PDP has the capacity at this time to produce people that can compete for electoral positions, considering that their winners have now jumped ship? Do you think they stand any chance come 2023? Also considering what's happening right now, the issues with their convention that may or may not happen.
I mean, a house divided against itself cannot stand. PDP at the moment, right, in scientific parlance, is undergoing what we call like autoimmune disease, when like your own immune system begin to fight against you, and it's really like a very terrible situation. And then you also mentioned what could be the overall driving motive why people are leaving PDP, whether it's to be shielded from corruption. Well, at the moment, it's not all about like running away from any corruption. Yes, in time past, we've seen like people want to like protect themselves, right? From maybe legal battles just by joining the political party. But now it's all about political survival. We know that you need a platform to run for election. And if the platform is shaking, if the platform is not even certain, you don't want to still be in the court when the elections primaries, others are going into to run for elections, and you discover at the end of the day, due to like schisms that exist within the political party, your political future is hampered. So I think it's all about strategy for the politicians, because you see that the major challenge actually is a concern for me. It's not just that PDP has a problem, but even those in PDP now are confused. They don't know how to handle the challenge. Ask an average PDP person now and say, so how do you intend to resolve this? I tell you, it's going to be like speaking like motivational speakers. We know we're going to make it, we are coming back. I mean, you're coming back, more people are defecting. What we need is strategy at this point.
Yeah.
And the strategy, all the while, like if you ask me, would have been because PDP's long negligence on internal democracy is what is playing out. And if APC still make the same mistake sometime in the future, who could also be, because the same people moving, right? So that long negligence of internal party democracy is actually what is accounting for all of these challenges.
All right, Chukwuma, before we let you go, let me throw in this last question because my interest is if what we are seeing, what looks like a gradual drive into a dominant party situation, not one party. I always refrain from using one party because we've been there before. PDP, did the same thing. So if it turns to be a dangerous curve, who do we blame? Is it the strong man who says, everybody come around, you're welcome? Or is it those weaklings who just need survival? I'm asking this because the man that they are all rushing to at least had a bit of ideology when he was the last man standing in the opposition. He fought a sitting president for 8 years, Obasanjo, former general. He had a deal with Jonathan for the 2011 elections, but refused to leave his party until he built it to the behemoth that it is today. So who are we blaming? So when you say that people now go to the house and say, on your mandate, we're standing, are you blaming him for standing on principle or for those who are singing?
Okay, well, we actually will not absolve Mr. President of the blame. We cannot because, like in diplomacy, right? It's what we call soft power.
Okay.
There's a way you can induce the opposition to understand that, come on, you just have to leave. Can you imagine for the very first time in Nigeria, we have a minister, we can't clearly say which party he's in, right? He's speaking up for APC, he's speaking up for PDP. He's happy with all of the things that is happening in PDP, So with such kind of strategic position, because I think if Bola Ahmed Tinubu was able to do opposition, it's because maybe perhaps an Obasanjo, right?
Yeah.
Understand this is democracy. And why it's even more worrisome now to pundits is we've seen the beauty of having two strong parties, just like in the US. And then when you now have this same opposition line now turning into one dominant or one party system, it may not be like when we set out for the Fourth Republic in 1999. Bet me it's going to be an entirely different narrative. Because now it's all about, okay, so the winner takes it all, right? If you are not here, then you can't even do opposition because, for instance, when you want to stand out now to do opposition in Nigeria, sometimes it comes with dire consequences. We've seen that happen in recent Nigeria. So that
Why
can
were
be...
there no consequences to Tinubu? He was tried by code of conduct, but he stood his ground, which is my point.
Yeah, he stood his ground.
Why do we not have a Tinubu today in opposition party? And I'm not talking of Atiku or a Peter Obi, because they also were not like Tinubu, because they keep two moving around parties just to get to power, unlike him.
I think, and just, before you answer, because when we think about a Tinubu in Nigerian politics today, I actually think of the senator from Bayelsa in the PDP.
The former governor.
The former governor. He has been a voice both in the red chamber, which is a very hard place to have a voice that goes against the tide. But let's move on from actually opposition, because let's talk about democracy itself.
We really have to go so that
very quickly, because what we have seen in Africa, even in Tanzania, for example, where the opposition candidates were removed from the ballot, but as we speak right now, there's curfew, there's no internet, because the people still rose up.
Just 30 seconds.
So just 30 seconds. Your thoughts on, even without that party or vehicle, if the people are in opposition, can they still win? Can democracy still survive?
Well, to some extent, people can enrich the democratic experience, but bet me when it comes to politics, it's a case of one man of power, right? Outweighs 1,000 men who knows their right. So there is need, and just like I saw someone making reference to civil societies, citizens should rise up. I mean, the essence of having opposition is to engage at that level, party to party, right? Sure. Do what you should be able to do, and don't throw it out all to the citizen. And finally will now be to the judiciary. They can actually play some critical roles, right, to save democracy. I just do hope it will not come to a time in Nigeria when the judiciary will also sing, "On your mandate we shall stand."
You really don't like that
yes,
song.
Thank you so much for your time on the morning show.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us.